Happy Wednesday, everybody, and welcome back to Moving to Georgia. I am Sarah Maslowski with KeyPoint Homes Group, and today we're going to be diving into where you can find deals in the real estate market right now. And you might be thinking to yourself, there are no deals out there. What are you talking about? Interest rates are sky high. What? There's nothing can be done. And I'm here to tell you, I have recently helped quite a few clients find some pretty darn good deals out there on the market. So I want to share with you a little bit about what we're seeing, what we're experiencing here in the North Metro Atlanta area, and how you can put this to use if you're thinking about making a move, whether it be here in Georgia or another part of the country. So if you are joining us, please say hello in the comments. Let me know where you're watching from. And of course, if you have any questions at all at any time, just let me know in the comments and we will make sure to, I will make sure to answer those questions for you to the best of my ability. Oh, we've got Peach Lover waving to us down in Florida. Am I right? Thanks for joining us again this week. I appreciate you watching and joining me back here. Now, I don't know about the weather. We got to talk about the weather. I'm here in my sweater. It's now officially sweater weather here in Georgia. The temperature this morning when I woke up was 32 degrees, which was freezing for the beginning of November. But yet I know some of my other counterparts across the country, my agent friend in Chicago, it's snowing there this morning, and that's just unfathomable to live somewhere right now where it's snowing. So I said it was 32 degrees when I woke up this morning, but the high this afternoon was in the upper 50s. So don't worry. It's typical, I guess winter weather here in Georgia, fall weather, where it's really cold in the morning and then it warms all the way up. So you got to dress in layers and, shed those layers throughout the day. Oh, we've got Clyde joining us from Lawrenceville, a local viewer, watcher. Thanks for joining us here. I definitely appreciate it. So, where can you find deals right now? Well, first, you need to know about the market right now is that one of the challenging reasons of why there's not very many deals on the market right now is because inventory is so incredibly low. So we are year over year compared to 2022, we have 30% less homes for sale in the market than what we traditionally would have. And a large part of why we're not seeing homes come on the market is if you've watched me before in the previous weeks, we talk about this a lot, but it's important. It's kind of like a lot of sellers have golden handcuffs. And we say that because they have really great interest rates that they've locked in over the past couple of years. Almost 90% of homeowners, I don't know what the exact statistic is, I'll have to look it up. 95% of homeowners have an interest rate below 6.5%. Right now, interest rates are knocking on the door, they're at 8%. That is a drastic change. So if you're a potential seller or someone that would typically want to move, you're looking at what your money can buy you and looking what the interest rate and how that's going to affect your monthly payment. It's a big sticker shock. I recently met with a great couple that I helped move here a couple of years ago, and they were thinking about making a move to a different neighborhood. And one of the conversations that I had with them is that, yes, you have incredible equity and your home value has gone up over the past couple of years. Let's talk about what your financial goals are and what that new monthly payment is going to look like, even if we took the equity out of your current house and put it into a new house. And to say that they had some sticker shock was putting it mildly. It was significant sticker shock of what that new monthly payment would be, given what interest rates are right now. So what do you do with this information and how do you make home buying a little bit more affordable right now? You do have some options. So the first thing that I would suggest for you is you are going to want to, if you're looking at resale homes, we are going to look at houses that have been on the market greater than 21 days. So right now we're seeing kind of like a tale of two markets. And in that tale of two markets, homes that are priced really well, in great condition, great photos, staged really well, those homes are selling pretty darn quickly at all price points and even for multiple offers. So it's not uncommon to have a home become in a multiple offer situation given those factors. So that's not really going to be a deal, right? Or it might be a deal if it's the perfect home for you and it's within your budget and your price point of what you're looking for. However, if you are not seeing those types of opportunities, you need to focus on homes that have been on the market for longer than 3 weeks. And the reason is because what we're seeing is homeowners missing the mark on pricing. So they're pricing it a little bit too high, or their home may be in need of a little bit of extra TLC or some cosmetic changes that would make it a 9 or a 10 house for someone else. And that might be the perfect scenario of where you can negotiate with the seller and get a big chunk of seller pay closing cost to cover buying down your interest rate to make that home more affordable. So, yes, the trade off there of finding a deal in a resale home might mean that there might be some painting involved, might be some landscaping, might need changing out some flooring, putting in new carpet. But I'm sure that you would rather spend a couple $1,000s on paint and carpet and have an affordable house payment than you would continuing to rent and just throw that money down the drain, or um, seeking out other alternative solutions. So that is something that you can keep in mind and do. So I had a client just this past week who we reviewed their financial goals and what they needed and the price point they were looking for. And we knew that in order to make everything work, we needed a substantial amount of closing costs covered in order to keep their out-of-pocket expenses where they wanted it to be and to be able to meet their interest rate goals of what they wanted. So that's what we did. We looked at homes that were on the market greater than 3 weeks. We found a great one, made an offer under list price and with a significant amount of closing costs, and the seller accepted. So you have to know that right now in this market, as a buyer, you have a lot of great leverage in a lot of instances. And so this is your opportunity to seize the leverage that you have as a buyer and use it. This leverage is going to go away next year. So when it comes springtime next year, as interest rates start to tick down just a little bit, that is when you are going to see a lot more demand. And with more demand means way less leverage that you have as a buyer, and sellers are going to be way less open to paying any type of seller pay closing costs because they are going to potentially have more buyers out there that would want their house. So this is your opportunity to take advantage. Now, there's a special sector of the real estate market right now where you can find incredible deals. So let me share a little bit more with you about that. So I have a great article from Redfin, and we talked about how inventory is so incredibly low for resale homes right now. Well, this headline caught my attention. It says almost a third of homes for sale right now are new construction, and that's the highest share of any third quarter on record. So new construction sellers right now, builders, have a lot of good inventory that they have on the market right now because they're not stuck with those golden handcuffs of having locked in 3, 4, 5% interest rates over the past couple of years. They're brand new homes that they're building to the market, and they need to move these new homes. So, you see that increase, in which this is good. We need new construction homes. Part of the reason that we're in kind of like this housing shortage that we are overall is that builders have been building way less houses than what the demand is demanding over the past 10 years. So we're like 10 years short of having builders build the homes that we need. So they've got a long way to go to catch up. And right now, this is a good thing. It's a good thing that they're continuing to build these houses and put them out there on the market. But one of the things that we're seeing right now is that, this article goes on to say, it says newly built homes have taken up a growing share of for sale housing inventory, partly because home building has increased and partly because the number of existing homeowners putting their house up for sale has drastically decreased. So we talked about that. We know that high mortgage rates are the reason that they're pushing to the sidelines. And the reason that a lot of buyers who are in the market are opting for new construction is because builders are handing out concessions like mortgage rate buydowns in order to attract bidders and offload inventory. So we are seeing, and you're mostly seeing these in your bigger builders like Pulte, D.R. Horton, Century Communities, really aggressive, good incentives to help you make these homes more affordable. So a lot of these bigger builders, they're able to do this because they either own the mortgage company or their company has a subsidiary with the mortgage company, and they have either pre-bought or saw this coming and bought a whole large book of mortgages back in months ago or a year ago, and they held on to these so that they can offer these really good incentives to buyers right now. So, what am I seeing with new construction right now? Well, I'm seeing that builders are offering money towards closing costs. So they're saying, hey, here's $10,000 towards closing cost. And in addition to that $10,000, here is you can lock in this interest rate for 6% on these homes that are ready to go right now. Well, if you look at a 6% interest rate compared to a market rate right now of, let's just say, 8%, you're going to be saving hundreds of dollars per month in your monthly payment looking at a resale home versus a new construction home. And you say, hey, a new construction home sounds great. What's the catch? Well, there's not a catch. The reason is just that the builder has the ability and can afford to do these great incentives, whereas the average everyday homeowner, it would cost them tens of thousands of dollars to buy your interest rate down to the point that these builders are able to offer. So I recently helped a buyer just this past week. This was a deal that was almost like too good to be true. When we found it, I told my client, I was like, you need to jump on this because I can't find anything kind of close to this. And so this just goes to prove that there are deals out there to be found. You just have to be in the market and you have to be looking for them and open to them. But we were able to get $20,000 towards closing cost and a 6% interest rate. What this means is that with that huge $20,000 towards closing cost, this buyer was able to essentially just put their down payment on the home, and that was it. That was all the out-of-pocket expenses that they're going to have, and they get a 6% interest rate on a brand new home. That is incredible. Incredible, incredible, incredible. So I was super impressed with this, and I had to, tell my clients, like, yes, you have to take this. Gilberto, I'm buying at 5.75% with 28,000 closing cost. That is an incredible deal. Incredible. And so there are great deals out there right now. If you are out there searching and you're open to it. Now, some of the trade-offs with a new construction home, depending upon where you're looking, is that you're going to have smaller lot sizes. So you may not get that big backyard that you're envisioning. And you're likely going to be in a neighborhood with an HOA. So that's something to keep in mind that you have to be open to. But the trade-off is that you're getting really great incentives, really great interest rates, and that helps significantly with the amount of money that you have to pay every single month. So I'm curious, if you're joining us on the live stream, say hello. Let me know where you're watching from. Have any comments or questions about what we're talking about, let me know, or anything about moving to Georgia, what's going on in the real estate market. I would love to know and answer those questions. Gilberto said that was through Lennar. So that is fantastic. One thing I would caution you that you need to know about new construction is that you still want to work with a real estate agent. Now, they have great agents that are representing the builder on site, but I'll give you an instance just with this client that I just helped with that great deal, $20,000 and a great interest rate. They communicated that deal to me. They communicated that deal to my client. But then when it came time to actually do the contract, they said, oh, sorry, we were confused. That deal wasn't for this house. And I was like, no, wait. You already told us this, and y'all need to honor what you said. Now, I was able to kind of escalate that and advocate for the client and get the community to still honor what they said. And I don't know that my client would have gotten that same outcome had she not had someone advocating on her behalf and telling her, no, let's work through this. Don't just take their word. So that is something that you definitely need to know. If you are buying new construction, it's not going to have any impact at all on the type of deal you get or the price you have in a negative way. If anything, you're going to get someone, hopefully you're going to work with me, and you're going to get someone who's going to be able to give you really, really good advice on what you can expect right now and what's normal and what's not normal. So that is something that you need to know. Clyde said, I bought in December of last year, new construction, brought my rate down to 6.25%. That is awesome. So you can do an interest rate buy down. And whenever you see builders offer these really great high seller pay closing costs, they're really giving you that money so that you can go out and buy your interest rate down. So oftentimes these builders are almost 99.9% of the time, they're going to say, hey, you have to use our preferred lender in order to take advantage of these special rates or this rate buy down. That's very normal. And you just want to make sure that that lender is allocating that money in a way that makes the most sense. So in this instance, whenever with my most recent client, we had $20,000 to go towards closing costs. Well, her closing costs weren't $20,000. We had an extra $5,000 left over. So we worked with the lender to use that extra $5,000 to do an additional rate buy down. So instead of a 6%, she actually got a 5.75% interest rate on her home and just paying the down payment. Crazy. So super excited for her and others. And you have to be smart out there right now. So when I'm talking about these really great deals with new builds, there's going to be areas that you're not going to find this. Let's just be honest. You're not going to find this deal in Alpharetta. You're not going to find this deal in Cumming or in certain parts of Cumming. You are going to find these deals kind of like in areas that are just not crazy in demand, because a builder is only going to offer you what they have to in order to help make something more affordable for you. I'm thinking of a D.R. Horton community in Cumming right now. They have a wait list of people wanting to get into the community. They release 8 houses every single 4 weeks, and they have 50, 70 plus people that want these 8 houses that they're releasing every single month. So there might be $5,000 incentive if you use their preferred lender, but they're not offering like strong interest rate incentives because they don't have to. They're saving those deals for other communities where the demand is a little bit less. So when I say they're a little bit less, it's not because they're bad areas or not sought after areas. It's just that you have certain pockets that are way hotter than others, and you just have to kind of weigh the pros and cons of where you want to be. And is it worth looking into another area if the incentives are a little bit better? So that is something that you have to keep in mind. So I would take that into consideration if you are out there in the market right now. Clyde bought a Chafin community home. I love Chafin community, or Chafin. Chafin is a great builder here in the North Metro Atlanta area. And I've helped many clients buy in that, or in those communities that they build here, and they build a really, really great home. Masadiq asks, where are new construction homes nearby for investment purposes, please? So here's something that you need to be mindful of if you're looking for new construction for investment. Some communities will have rental restrictions within the neighborhood so that you can't rent out that house in the future. So therefore, if you're wanting it for investment purposes, you want to avoid neighborhoods like that. So you want to go the little bit of extra step or engage and work with someone like me that's going to do that for you to say, hey, here's a neighborhood that doesn't have rental restrictions, and this is where you should look. You also want to make sure that some of these neighborhoods, some just flat out ban rentals altogether. And then some say, hey, only 15, 20% or 5% of the homes in the neighborhood can be rentals. So those are things that we would want to investigate and do. Obviously running numbers to make sure that your positive cash flow on these, all those normal things that we would want to do. I would have to do a little bit more research specifically for that area of exit 12. But here's the thing, there's new construction opportunities everywhere. And sometimes I have clients that will reach out to me and they'll say, hey, we are wanting to make a move. We want new construction only. We want to be in a great school system, and we want to be in Swanee or Duluth. I'm just making up 2 of those areas. Well, here's what you need to know. The closer you get into Atlanta, or the closer you get towards Atlanta, those towns are very, very, very well established. They are dense. They are completely almost developed, right? There is hardly any land left to build new construction homes. So when you do have new construction opportunities in those areas, they are almost always townhomes because a builder can put 100 townhomes on the same amount of land that it would take to build 20 houses, right? I don't know, I'm just making that up, but you get the point. So, so you have to be open to townhome communities or another popular type of building that they're building is like not a townhome, but a detached house, but what they call like a zero lot line, meaning you don't really have any backyard space at all and all kind of like common space around the houses. And so your houses are very close together without any yard space. And that's also, people don't like that. But don't shoot the messenger. If you want new construction options, you have to go out to the North Metro Atlanta suburbs, the areas that we cover on the channel. Cumming and Gainesville, Brazelton, Houston, Monroe, all of these great areas are where you're going to find more and more new construction options that are not townhomes. So you just have to keep that in mind and figure out what is most important to you and your family and what you need to do. Gilbert said, I saw great deals on move and ready houses while other houses were under construction. Yes, so that is a good point, Gilberto. Builders are going to incentivize those houses that are finished or about to be finished, like within 30 to 45 days. They're going to put greater incentive to move those homes rather than something that's still months away from being complete. So you have the better deal on homes that are ready. And the reason is because they want to get that off their books because they want to invest that money into other homes that they want to build. That is why whenever you go into communities and ask about the incentives, they'll say, hey, we have these great incentives on these ready to go houses. But if you want to build or pick out your lot, there's hardly any incentives there. And it's because they want to move those inventory homes. So that is something that you want to keep in mind. The very, very best deals are homes that are ready to go right now. Peach Lover says, I just found out I can't use Florida income to purchase Georgia homes and just sold my house. Gonna have to pay a cash to buy a house. Yes. So that is a good point. If you are moving to another state, the lender, especially if you're doing a loan, the lender wants to see that you have the ability to pay back that loan and they want to see where your employment is coming from. So if you're working in a job where you're working from home remotely, they're just going to ask that employer to verify that they don't care if you move and that you can still work from somewhere else. If you work, let's say you're a nurse or a factory job or something like that, obviously that employer is not going to say that you can work remotely. So you're going to have to find new employment. Now, what you need to know, though, about that is that you don't have to start your job. You just have to have an offer of employment with a job start date. So if you're a nurse, it's, come for an interview, get a job offer where they state, hey, this is what your rate of pay is going to be, and you can start on this date. That's all you need to get a loan. So keep that in mind, or you're going to be in a situation where you are buying a house in cash. Not everyone can do that. Some of the clients that I work with, they have dual income households where the spouse works remotely and the other person's going to have to find a new job, but they can still qualify on one income. There's all sorts of ways to kind of take a look at that. But Peach Lover, I would love to connect with you a little bit more and help you through that if I can. I would be honored to do that. Oh, Sam Navi from Chicago. I think you're saying hate the weather. Yes, it's snowing up there, right? My agent friend told me or showed pictures on Facebook, and I was like, that's crazy. Not sure where to start. My kids will be done schooling by 2025, and that's when we are planning to move. I definitely think that is a good idea. I guess 2025 isn't that far away. The really challenging thing with all of this is that, sometimes I have really great clients that will reach out and say that we're thinking about making a move, but it's going to be a couple of years. And then they tell me their budget of the house prices that they're looking at, and they want me to recommend where they should look. Well, I can recommend where you can look today, but I have no clue what those home prices are going to look like 2 years from now. What I can expect is that these home prices are going to continue to increase over the next couple of years. Normal appreciation rates that we typically see in a normal market, we're expected to see that. But I can almost guarantee you that the $500,000 house that you see now is definitely going to be more expensive in the future. I just don't know by how much more expensive it's going to be. So just keep that in mind whenever you're looking. Obviously, people's finances change and things like that. And that's, really important. One great thing to do, and I think I see your comment down here, that you are moving it, or you're coming down here in 2 weeks to visit. That is such a great thing to do. I work with clients all the time where they come here for a visit and they think that they're going to move to one part of Atlanta, and then they find, or they drive around and visit, spend some time there, and then they go to another area that they really hadn't considered, and they really love that other area. So keep an open mind, drive around, figure out what feels like home and what are some options that feel like they could be workable and doable. And that's going to make your move in the future so much easier. And it also gives you like a area of focus to kind of follow real estate trends and things like that. So in terms of, again, in terms of the budget, that's such a hard thing to tell. The best thing to do, though, is look at what your current budget is and find out what homes currently are there. And, hopefully your income or whatever will continue to grow over the next couple of years, or down payment and things like that, that as those home prices increase, you'll still be in that bracket where you can afford those things. So that is something to keep in mind. Peach Lover, you're asking if you bought a second home using your Florida income. Yes, you can do that. One thing that you need to know about buying a house as a second home, it's not going to work in every place that you look in Georgia. So the underwriter is going to be able to have like some believability that this is going to be a second home. So near Lake Lanier, somewhat near the mountains, like it can't be like, I don't know, out in farmland and us call that a second home. So there's got to be a little bit of believability there. That doesn't necessarily mean we have to have like a lake house per se. And with a second home purchase, your interest rate's going to be a little bit more. So know that. And then also they are definitely going to require 20% down. But I know that you said that you just sold your house. And so it sounds like you have a lot of equity from that you'll be able to put towards the new house. So that definitely should work. Yeah. So awesome. And the location, Peach Lover, it doesn't, mean that, I don't know. A lender will be able to explain this a little bit better and kind of tell you like what will and won't qualify. But I work with a fantastic lenders. I have two really great ones that I can recommend you to. And they can give you a little bit more guidance on what will pass and what won't pass, and how they can kind of finagle it a little bit. Hi, we've got a former client joining us. Found your channel in Florida, sold her home a year ago, and bought a new construction in Walton County. Can't say enough how much we love our new place a year later. That is so fantastic, y'all. Knock on wood, we have not had a client move here yet that hasn't just absolutely loved it. And that makes me so happy. I mean, I know it's bound to happen one day, right? Someone's going to move here and they don't like it, but it really brings me a lot of joy that y'all are happy and enjoying your place a year later. Thank you for those kind words, and thank you for watching and using us and reaching out. So I appreciate it. So impressed by your videos, really gave us clarity. Daughter might go to UGA in 2025. That is exciting. You are going to be in good company if y'all move down here to Georgia. Tons of Georgia Bulldog fans. If you saw my live stream last week, we talked about Georgia had a really big football game this past weekend. They kicked Florida's butt. I mean, I thought it was going to be like somewhat of a close game. It was really a good old fashioned butt kicking. This week they play Missouri. I'm going to go to the game. So we'll cheer them on and see what happens. I need to get some Georgia memorabilia up here. So So if you're just joining us on the live stream, let me know if you have any questions about making a move or anything about what's going on in the real estate market right now. We are talking about in this video, like where you can find deals in the real estate market right now. And the best deals are in new construction right now. If you're looking to save a significant amount of money, that's where it's at, or in resale homes that have been listed for longer than 3 weeks. You if it's been listed even longer than that, you have even more of an opportunity to make an offer. You don't know how many emails I get from agents, how many private notes in the MLS system say motivated seller, bring us an offer. So there are a lot of sellers that really want to sell their house right now that are open to offers. So I encourage you to not be totally discouraged. Let's talk. Let's have a strategy session. Let's get you connected with a really great lender so we could figure out, based upon your monthly budget goals, what type of house you need to look at and what a potential scenario might be for that new home. So if you have any questions about making a move or real estate market, let me know in the comments. We're answering those. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do that. You'll get notified every single time we put out a new video, which is every single Sunday, covering all the great areas around Metro Atlanta, letting you know what is going on. Warren asked, is there another opportunity to do the family photos? We missed out last week. Yes, we will. We do have something lined up ready to go for spring. And we'll make sure that we get you on our pie celebration that's coming up the week of Thanksgiving to get you a really good pecan, pumpkin, or apple pie. We're giving away pies to all of our clients the week of Thanksgiving. And it's going to be really hard for me that day not to like sample all the pies. So I might do that though and let you know how great the pie is that you're going to get. Oh, Brian Maxwell, I knew someone was going to ask this today. How will the recent court decision against the Realtors Group affect the market? So if you haven't seen the headlines today or yesterday, there was a big lawsuit where a class action lawsuit that was brought against the National Association of Realtors and then a couple of brokerage companies, essentially stating that the National Association of Realtors were price fixing or colluding on commissions and that it was an unfair burden on sellers. So let me back up, give you some context. Typically in a contract or when a home is listed for sale, the typical normal amount is 6%. Of that 6%, it's typically shared with the other side. So the buyer's agent, whoever's representing the buyer, would get 3%. The listing agent would get 3%. The lawsuit was saying that because that's the normal rate and because that's what's pushed, that is price fixing and price colluding, and that's inflated home prices. Now, what they're saying is that it's an unfair burden on the sellers to cover all of that. Here's one thing that I know. I am an agent with Keller Williams. Keller Williams was named as a defendant in the lawsuit. Subsequently, there's been another lawsuit where they're suing all the other real estate companies. So it's not just a Keller Williams or Remax thing who was named in the lawsuit. But I know from my experience, real estate commissions are always negotiable. So although 6% has historically been the norm, there's also many instances where a lot of other terms are negotiated. I don't think, and essentially what the lawsuit awarded damages to, they found in favor of the plaintiffs, saying that the jury agreed that there was price fixing of the commissions and that was not allowed. And I don't think that this is going to have an effect immediately on the real estate market. I think long term, it may have an effect on the real estate market. I think, unfortunately, it may have a negative effect on buyers' representation. So one of the great things in real estate transaction is that typically you have an agent that represents the listing and an agent that represents the buyer. That buyer agent is looking out on your behalf. If you got rid of a buyer's agent and only had the listing agent, well, that listing agent only has a fiduciary responsibility to the seller. And so you as a buyer kind of left like fending for yourself. And while a lot of you are really fantastic and great and you can do it, sometimes you need someone with a lot of experience to know how to handle all kinds of things. So I think there's probably likely going to be some changes in the future. And one of the things that, at least in my market here in the Metro Atlanta area, it's always been something that's negotiable. And now what you see in real estate listings, if you'll notice on Zillow, there is, it's now a public facing percentage that you see of how much buyer's commission is offered to a buyer's agent. So you'll see all kinds of ranges in there. And some buyer's agents will go back to the buyer and say, hey, the seller's offering 2%. My fee is 3%. I need for you to make up that difference. So everyone handles their business a little bit differently. But yes, it will definitely be interesting to see the impact that that has. And right now, in the short term, I don't think it's going to have much of an impact. A couple of years from now, it may. I know that there's going to be a lot of appeals, and I'm sure maybe the Department of Justice might get involved as well. So we'll see. 1818, thank you for taking the time to educate us. Mind-boggling how you don't have hundreds of years to learn, many hoops to jump in real estate. Oh, well, thank you. That's a very, very kind, very, very kind words that you're saying. Peach Lover, you negotiated your commission with your agent. The listing agent took 3.5%. The buyer took 2.5%. Yeah. So, it's always negotiable. And if anyone comes to you, if any agent comes to you and says, nope, this is how it is, they're lying. It's negotiable. So you need to know that. If you're listing your house, if you are buying a house, it is negotiable. And I have to kind of defend the profession a little bit. You have some agents that sell a couple of houses a year and they kind of do this as a part-time job. And then you have agents like myself who, this is my full-time job. This is my career. This is my business. And so I truly run a business and help to be able to serve a lot of great people and give you that experience that I gain every single transaction that I do to make you have a really, really great experience. So y'all brought up some really great questions tonight. So if you have any other questions about making a move, the real estate market, or where you can find a good deal, let me know in the comments below. Below this video, you are going to find a sign-up link for our newsletter. So if you haven't already signed up for our newsletter, we're going to keep you up to date on everything that is happening here in the Metro Atlanta area with real estate, local news that you might need to know of as well, businesses that are opening, restaurants that are coming, developments taking place. And so make sure that you sign up for that so that you can keep up to date. Semanavi asked, do you recommend to have any home tour when we come in 2 weeks? So I definitely think that what I often do for clients that are in your shoes when they're coming to do a visit is look online at some of the houses that you really like, that are catching your eye, that you like the interior of, you like the price of. Write those addresses down. And then when you're here in town, go drive to that house. Put it in your GPS and go drive. What that is going to do is it's going to show you what that neighborhood is like, and it's going to show you what's nearby. That is so invaluable because right now, what's really important for you in this stage of your research is really to narrow down and find out where you want to be, what town. And you're going to probably have a couple of towns that have houses that are very appealing, at least online for you. So go to those neighborhoods. Looking at houses on the inside, I mean, you're going to get excited, but those homes are not going to be available, obviously, by the time that you go to move. And another good point for that is that we can provide you a list of open houses so that you can kind of go to those at your leisure to check out some neighborhoods and get inside some houses if you just kind of want to get a feel for what that looks like. That's a great way when you're at this stage of the game to get a feel for what that is. But driving to those neighborhoods, you're going to eliminate so many areas or just based on driving to those neighborhoods. And when I say areas, it might be hey, we drove through these 3 addresses, but what we realized is that we really like a bigger yard, or I want a neighborhood with sidewalk, or we want a gated neighborhood. Those are all the things that you're gonna be able to kind of gain, doing that. Oh, Brian, mentioned a good point. Drive your kids to school to see the commute times. That is very important. One thing that I've learned, which, gosh, I didn't realize this wasn't standard across the country, but here in Georgia, a school bus will pick up your kids if you're going to public school. So there is a bus that will go to every single neighborhood and pick your kids up. Other parts of the country, I realize that's not the case at all. So they don't have public bus transportation um, to schools. So a lot of times, if we have clients that are coming here specifically for a job, I'll say drive to your job. Wake up tomorrow morning at 6:45 or whatever time you think you would normally leave for work, and drive that route and see if you're okay with that. Because sometimes on paper, you're like, oh, I'm fine with the 15-minute drive to work. And then you go do that and you're like, that was miserable. And I don't want to do that, 5 days a week. So great comment, Brian. Thanks for suggesting that. Gilberto, new house market is exploding due to incentives. I think that's what you mean. If math work for you, buy it, don't wait. Yeah, I greatly agree with that. One of the things that we are all anticipating is that I know interest rates are high right now. And the minute that those interest rates start to kind of tickle down and keep showing kind of like a little bit of a downward trend, tons of buyers are going to come out there saying, okay, yes, we got great news. We are going to go out and now's the time to buy a house. And unfortunately, that's just going to increase demand. Prices are still going to go up. So the money that you may be saving on a resale home with that decreased interest rate, you're going to be giving it back up whenever you pay more for the house or get into a multiple offer situation. So that is a really great comment. And I have to agree with you, not just because I want you to buy a house right now, but whether it's now or later, it still has to make financial sense for you. And just like Gilbert just said, if the math works for you, do it. If it doesn't work for you, don't do it. Nobody wants you to be house poor or getting yourself into a financial situation that you can't afford. Timothy said, that's why we bought recently. Didn't want to deal with multiple offer situations if rates were to drop. Great point. And Timothy, I know that you've thought about this, but you are locking in your price now. And when those interest rates drop a year from now, year and a half from now, you're going to be able to refinance into those lower interest rates and have the best of both world scenarios. The lower price that you paid this year, plus you're going to be able to lock in that interest rate or refinance into that interest rate in the future. So good point. And again, has to make sense for you. All right. Well, I appreciate spending time with y'all. Again, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, new videos every single Sunday educating you about the real estate market. If I did not get a chance to answer your question, or if you prefer to reach out personally, I would love that. My contact information is below this video. You can call me, text me, send me an email, however you want to get in contact. I would love to be your real estate agent and help you find a really great house here in Georgia. I look forward to seeing you on the channel on Sunday, and join me next Wednesday, again here on the live stream. See you next week.